Welcome to BH Now, the show that keeps you connected to the stories, people, and conversations shaping BH areas right now. Hosted by me, Emma Collins. Hello and welcome to another episode of BH Now. I'm so excited because we have Dan Ware on the show today. Now, Dan is a local entrepreneur who is passionate about supporting Bournemouth and founders and startups in the area as well, which is music to my ears. So welcome to the show, Dan.
Hi, good to see you.
It'd be really good for those who do not know about you to explain all about yourself, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. My name's Dan. I'm a local entrepreneur. I've been in business in the local area since 2009. My journey in business started in this very building in Walton House in the centre of Bournemouth with the Richmond Group. And it gave me an enormous exposure to what business was. What James Benamore and Mark Biles and the amazing management team at the Richmond Group gave me was an ability and breadcrumbs, if you like, for how to conduct business. I didn't know I was an entrepreneur really until I started working at the Richmond Group. And I realised that all of those problems that I'd solved over the years really were opportunities to make money. And that was really kind of the start of my entrepreneurial journey. I've founded 13, 14 businesses in the local area. I've employed 400-500 people. I've had businesses in every area in the conurbation. I converted 12,000 square foot in the centre of Bournemouth into office space. We had 106 in there at one point. And I'm just enormously passionate about BCP. I've got 4 children. I've decided to focus my life here. And I really want our home to be the best place that it can be to work, live and play.
That's amazing. And you have supported so many founders. You've raised a lot of money as well. You've managed to get a lot of capital as well. So
Yeah.
how did that journey start when you first decided to go, right, okay, this is what I'm doing? And can you tell us a little bit more about the businesses you had as well?
Yeah, of course. So, as I say, I've always been pretty good at solving problems. And my first business was a dining deals related business, so last minute dining deals. I liked to go out. I liked to go to restaurants, but I was quite young. I didn't have a great deal of money, and I thought, well, what would be the best way of being able to go to nice restaurants but not have to pay full price? And so I was involved in this business called Table Pouncer, which was 50% off last minute dining deals. So again, it was a real solution to a problem that I was experiencing. And then in 2011. I'd been involved in finance through the Richmond Group. I'd really kind of got a lot of exposure to what finance was and how it could potentially support people the right way. And I thought, wow, I've got this really amazing idea to support people like me, people that were young, people that didn't have access to conventional credit.
Yeah.
So I set up a business called Piggy Bank. I had no idea how to run a company. I had no idea what fundraising was. I had a couple of buddies, and we knew how much we needed to create this platform, and we knew that we had the experience and expertise to deliver something that people would find useful. So I've always liked to talk, and I've always been relatively good at selling. So I just went and just chatted to people and said, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm doing it, and this is how I think it can help people. And then they would say to me, do you have a profit and loss account? Or do you have, do you have any idea of how much money you're going to make or how much money you need? And I'd be sat there like a bit of an idiot thinking, I don't really know.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my first realization that building a team around you, people that you can trust, people that complement you, people that have expertise that you don't have, is really, really important. So I just focused on the selling, and I had 2 amazing technical guys. I had a fantastic CFO, and I had a designer, and we ended up building Piggy Bank. So we started with just the 5 of us in an industrial unit above a garage in Ringwood. We had 250 grand, and we built Piggy Bank. Within 4 years, we were lending 4.5 million a month. We'd raised about £50 million, and we were employing 106 people.
And
It was
that
a wild
was
ride.
and that was helping entrepreneurs.
No.
Startups. Oh.
That was before I got into that world. So that was helping people that didn't have access to conventional credit
Right,
for
okay.
short-term loans. So high cost short-term credit.
What a difference that would make, though, to be able to do that. And how did you get into then going, right, I want to support startups and create,
Yeah.
founders, sorry. So,
So again, it was a solution to a problem that I'd experienced. I always felt very alone when I was on my startup journey,
yeah,
and that was more down to me and down to ego and down to wanting to do as much as possible and creating this siege mentality around me to kind of build success. And so we'd had some big successes. We'd had a couple of failures. We were kind of like just plodding along, doing what we were doing. And it was great.
yeah,
But I was sort of quite relaxed. I wasn't working particularly hard. And lots of people would come to me and say, "Oh, could you look over my idea? Could you support me on the journey that I'm going on?" And I kind of give them a little bit of help and I put them in touch with the right people. But I
yeah,
wasn't doing a great deal. But it was the most excited that I was. It was the most kind of like I was enjoying anything that I was doing.
yeah,
And I thought to myself, I really need to monetize this and I really need to focus my energy on supporting these people that are going on these amazing startup journeys because being a founder is really, really lonely and it's really hard. And what people see is they see the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. They don't see the years of struggle.
yes,
And there's no story without struggle. Don't get me wrong. You know, my best anecdotes are the worst times that I've had. But as I say, I never felt that there was anybody around me who sort of got it. My team, I've got 5 people around me who have worked with me for the best part of 13, 14 years. And we've lived a heck of a lot together and they get it. But at the same time, they're not there at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're
yes,
staring at the ceiling, worrying
yes,
about how you're going to make the wages at the end of the
yes,
month.
yes,
And
yes,
I've had a lot of those. So I really felt that I could support people with their startup journeys, with their entrepreneurial journeys, not just from a profitability point of view, but from a mental and physical health point of view as well.
right,
I realized way too late that my ability to be able to be a good founder was intrinsically linked with my mental and physical health. And I saw burnout as a badge of honor. I felt working 14, 15 hours a day
yeah,
with 6 coffees, 40 cigarettes and half a bottle of scotch at the end of the day, like I
yeah,
was like, that's what we do,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what us hardcore founders do.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's not. That's how
no,
you burn out. I was 17 stone at my biggest. I was smoking 40 cigarettes a day. I
was
couldn't
you?
run a kilometer. And again, being able to sit with these predominantly young founders and
Yeah,
say, look, life is all about balance.
yeah, yeah,
Trust me, life is all about balance.
yeah,
So what we're going to do is you're going to work hard, but also you're going to put a line in the sand. You're
yeah,
going to go to the beach. You're going to go and be in nature. You're going to go and swim. You're going
yeah.
to run.
That
You're
is
not going to
so important,
drink,
isn't it? Yeah,
yeah. And I really, really feel that experience that I've had from making so many mistakes
yeah,
over the years, that really, really benefits young entrepreneurs.
yeah.
So I've managed to create something that I've managed to monetize that brings me so much happiness.
So is this the spark that
So the
you
Spark is an offshoot of that. So
right,
this is Golden Sands Capital. So
right,
Golden Sands Capital is my grown-up job. The
yeah.
Spark is my passion. So the Spark again was a solution to a problem that I'd experienced. Back in October 2020, was it 24, 25? What year are we? 24.
2026.
Yeah, so it was 24. It was October 2024. So there was a company called OnBuy that were local, really, really successful, successful company, and they decided that they were going to leave the conurbation. And the big boss over there, Kaz, who's a great dude, I know him quite well. He wrote lots of stuff on social media, and people went bananas. He was quite forthright. It's the way that he communicates, and also, he was trying to PR himself a little
Yeah,
bit. There were lots of reasons why they left Bournemouth, and it wasn't just because the council let them down and all the things that he said. He was
yeah,
very clever in
yeah,
the way that he positioned it. Anyway, people went bananas, and either people everything's very polarized at the moment. Everything's
yeah,
like football. You have to be totally absolute. You have to be binary.
yeah,
And so either people were saying BCP is the best place to ever do business. I cannot believe this business is leaving. What does he know? Or at the other end of the spectrum, it's all falling apart. I'm scared to leave my door. We
Yeah.
just need to, burn the place down and start
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And I was kind of sat there and I thought, there's loads of really good things about BCP, and there's
Yes.
loads of opportunities to make things better.
Yeah.
And with all due respect to the local authority, who I respect enormously and work with quite closely in another role that I have, being the chair of the BCP Growth Board, they're doing their best under very tough circumstances.
Yeah.
80% of their budget, their very, very meagre budget, goes towards supporting vulnerable children and adults, as it
Oh,
should do.
wow. Yeah.
As it should do.
Yeah.
But it means the nice to haves,
Yes.
like the air show, like the tourism board, like the pot plants, all of that side of things. Unfortunately, that's had to dissipate because to
Yeah.
focus on the vulnerable adults and children. And that's life. So anyway, very, very long story short, I felt that there was I felt that we didn't need to be quite so binary in our view of how BCP was. I felt that it's a pretty cool place to work, live, and play, but I also felt that we could make it better. As I say, I've been working with startups for a long period of time. I founded a lot of businesses. I felt that it was very clicky and siloed, and I felt that what would be really, really cool is if there was a centralized place where local businesses, entrepreneurs, founders could just come together to talk about their businesses, to network, but not in a, exchanging
Yeah.
business cards way,
Yeah.
in a really informal manner, to so that when people were looking for goods and services, they would look within BCP first before they looked
Amazing.
elsewhere. So
Yeah.
really, really informal. We've done 58 events. We've had about 2,000 people through the doors. A total, variety of different things, from little panels with 5 or 6 people talking about research to 230 people at our local and vocal event, which was showcasing the best of food and drink in the local area. We've done talks and panels on the high street, on local media, on security, on placemaking, on hospitality, all of these things.
Yeah.
And it's basically just shining a light on what's good in BCP, the really cool people doing super amazing stuff
Yeah.
that just want a little bit of support. There's within the Spark, there's no place for negativity. There's no place for politics. There's no place for ego. There's no place for monetization as well, which is quite unusual
Yeah.
from somebody that comes from a financial services background, an entrepreneur, somebody that's built a career making money for myself and other people.
Yeah.
The Spark is totally pure. We don't charge for anything. Um, Everything comes out of my own pocket. We don't have any sponsorship whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
All of our venues are given to us free. We don't pay for anything. It's
Amazing.
just it's just fantastic, and it just means that we can be totally pure. We can
Yeah.
just talk about what we're going to talk about. We can do what we're going to do, and we can focus on what's important. And
Yeah.
what's important is communication, collaboration
Mm.
to build community.
Mm.
Community. Life is tough at the
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
It's politically uncertain, it's socially uncertain, it's economically uncertain.
Yes.
There's lots of reasons to be divided. And actually, when you get people together, you realize that although there are lots of reasons to be divided, the biggest and most important things are the reasons to come together and,
Yeah.
and to build community. And it's just a lovely thing. It's really
There,
special.
there, there is so much negativity, and
I
there's
hate
a
it.
lot of negativity when it comes to BCP as well. But I've been born and bred here, and I've grown up,
Mm,
and I see and I hear a lot of the good stuff, a lot of good stuff that's happening.
yeah.
Has it been really interesting with the Spark? And have you learned a lot from it? And
Oh
have
my
you?
gosh,
I bet you
yeah.
there's lots of stories where businesses are thriving, individuals are thriving because of what you have created as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Well, there's 2 things that you've raised there, which I think are really interesting. So because I was sort of relatively insular, kind of did my own thing, because
Yeah.
working in a unfashionable sector like credit, people don't really welcome you to the party quite so much. And even though we were a very successful business employing a lot of people in the centre of Bournemouth, doors were not particularly opened to
No.
me. Let's kind of put it that way. So when I set up the Spark, I didn't know the elders of the village, as I kind of call them. So people looked at me saying, this guy is saying all this stuff. What's his angle? What's his monetization strategy? Why do
Right.
we not know him? Why is he not coming to us? So what I decided to do, instead of doing what I would normally do in business, which is just kind of marching to the beat of my own drum and doing my own thing,
Yeah.
I decided what I would do is I would reach out to all of these amazing elders of the village. People like Matt Desmere, people like the university. There's so many. Paul Kimvig, which we talked about before.
Yeah.
Jackie Rock. So many people that I respect
Yeah.
enormously, just to sit down with them and say, look, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Don't worry. I'm not trying to, belittle all the amazing work that you've done. I'm not trying to take anything away from you,
Yeah.
but I'm looking at this from a different place,
Yeah.
and I have a different experience to you guys. And let's collaborate as opposed to working against each other.
Yeah.
Some people have responded really positively.
Yeah.
Other people not so. But that kind of that
But that hasn't stopped you.
hasn't stopped me, no,
No.
because at the end of the day, my I'm not here to be liked, and there's a price of leadership, and if you want to be a leader, whether that's in a business or in a sports team or in a community, you can't keep everybody happy. But as long as you're focused on hitting your big hairy audacious goal, and my big hairy audacious goal is making BCP a place that we can be proud to work, live and play, and
Yes.
also where I have 4 children, I want BCP to be a viable option for my kids to build their lives too.
Yeah.
I think I spent 10 years away from BCP. I grew up in Poole, spent 10 years away and then came back. And I think that's really healthy to kind of experience the world. But at the same time, I had no choice. I had to go to London. I had to go and travel
Yeah.
because what I wanted from life wasn't here
Yeah.
in BCP. And I would love BCP to be a viable option for my children so that they
Yes.
can, build a life here.
Yes.
And I feel at the moment in some sectors, creative industries most certainly, and film, my goodness, we're good at that. And in financial services, we're not as good as we were, but we're kind of getting there again. But I feel that there is an undertone of enormous negativity, and there is a real political division. And I really, really feel that we, as I say, we have an opportunity to take a couple of steps back and go, what is it we want to do? Do we care about the colour of our ties and our political allegiances? Or do we care that this is a place where we can feel comfortable and safe, and where we
Yes.
can get what we want from our lives, which
Yeah.
in turn supports the rest of the community?
And what do you hope changes for your boys? Because your boys are quite young, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I've got a 19-year-old, but I also have
Oh.
a 7, a 6, and a 1.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Really young.
yeah, really.
What do you hope changes in BCP for when your 3 younger boys get older, or even your eldest? What do you hope for them?
I just want them to have opportunity.
Yeah.
I feel that there's not a great deal of opportunity here at the moment, because I feel that there is, as I say, there's an undertone of negativity, and people put a lot of blame, as I say, at the local authority. We are where we are politically. We are where we are socially. But what we can have an impact on is we can have an impact on the economy, and we can have an impact on the community.
Yeah.
So you see what these businesses like Patch, like the Foundry, you see the communities that they are creating. You see the
Yes.
opportunities that they're giving these solopreneurs to get together and be with like-minded people. You see what I do with the Spark. You see what Mark Masters does with We Are the Media.
Yes.
And it's cultivating environments where people can grow. And I think instead of looking inward all the time and focusing on what you can get,
Yeah.
I think it's about looking outward and thinking about how can we grow together.
Yeah.
And it sounds like hippie BS, but genuinely, hand on heart, I can see how much easier it is to make money and to be a capitalist, as I am. I am a true capitalist,
Yeah.
but I'm a capitalist with a social conscience. And I feel that if you collaborate with people, you grow, you take different ideas, you move forward, and you become greater than the sum of your parts.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're insular and you're
Yeah.
looking in and you're looking down at the floor,
Yeah.
you do reach a ceiling in terms of your
Yeah.
ability. And also you kill your marketplace too,
Yeah.
locally.
What opportunities have you seen that you've been able to give to people who you welcomed into the Spark, for example? Have there been changes, movements? Have business businesses, entrepreneurs manage to grow a business and
Yeah.
contribute to BCP? I'd love to know
Yeah,
about
well,
that.
countless different businesses that have been set up, partnerships that have been formed, even down to like people that have had websites built or had, brochureware constructed or branding documents or that sort of thing. It's basically just getting as many local people together
Yeah,
with a shared passion
yeah,
to communicate, to collaborate, and to build community. So that there have just been, there's been so much.
yeah,
The stuff that we've done with the university has been really exciting. We do a lot with AUB. They support us really heavily, but it's got me into environments where I can speak to students, and I think that I think entrepreneurs have become celebrities in a way, and I think you look at what they've become. Maybe not famous, infamous is what they've become. And you look at the likes of the CEOs of the big companies, and previously they wouldn't be known, whereas today they have really big social media followings.
yeah.
And what a lot of kids see is they see that they want to be famous or infamous.
Yes, yeah,
They don't realize that actually when a famous CEO is talking on a stage, they might be enjoying it, but that's their job. They're
yes,
going to work. When you have a film star that's walking down the red carpet,
yeah,
that's them going to work. That's
yeah,
a price of their marketing.
yeah,
And I think that being able to educate these up and coming entrepreneurs and being able to do my bit for the next generation
yeah,
to say, look, this is holistically how you need to look at things. And
yeah,
again, going
yeah,
back to where we started, about thinking about balance,
yeah,
about not just thinking about your pocket and your business, but
yeah,
thinking about your mental and physical and spiritual
yeah,
health as well
yeah,
is
yeah.
enormously important.
It's been really interesting because I've got three teenage daughters,
Wow. Okay.
and yeah, and so one of them has said that she would never like to be self-employed. She
Interesting.
would always like because both myself and my husband are both
Right.
self-employed. So that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because she does see mum and dad working hard
Yeah.
and trying to build this, this career, and
Yeah.
whereas my other two daughters, they don't want to be in a 9 till 5 job,
Yeah.
but they're trained at school that they need to go to, work hard, go to
Yeah.
college or sixth form, go to university, get a 9 to 5 job, and it really
Yeah.
focuses on that. Whereas I talk about, because my job is to cover a lot of stories on what's going on across BCP, but I
Yeah.
will often say to them, "My God, did you know that there's this opportunity? And have you heard of this entrepreneur? And have
Yeah.
you this is what you can do. You can go to the gym and you can go and do some yoga, or you can go and ride your horses."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also you can still make money and you can work, but you can make
Absolutely.
a difference as well. You can
Yeah.
contribute. And that's been really interesting for
That's
me.
fascinating.
Yeah, teaching my children that
Yeah.
actually it's not about just going, and working for somebody else, that
Yeah.
you can actually make a change and make a difference.
Yeah.
All these places of work, the Foundry, the Pat, like you said.
Mm.
I'd really love to know, if you were in charge of Bournemouth, what would you do if you was for a year given Bournemouth as your patch and it was up to you? You made all the decisions.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I think that's a really great question. I think, oh my God, and firstly, it's not a job I would want because I think nobody has the ability to do what needs to be done in Bournemouth, unfortunately, because of the political, social, and economic situation. But looking at a perfect world, without going too deep on that, what I would love to see is I would love to see more space for people to be able to fail, more kind of like more
I
safe
love that.
space for people to be able to fail.
Yeah.
So something that L&G, who are the owners over at the Dolphin Centre, what they do really well, what they've done fantastically with Kingland Crescent and also with the food hall that they have up there,
Yeah.
is they give really, really cheap rent to businesses for a couple of years. So businesses can go there and they can do their thing without constant fear
Yeah.
of failure.
Yeah.
And I think that being able to pull entrepreneurs into a centralized hub, whether that be an incubator or whether that be an accelerator, getting them all in together and say, look, this is community, right?
Yeah.
You guys are all doing the same thing. What we're going to do is we're going to pull in expertise from previous founders. We're going to prove, finance people. We're going to get, all of these people that kind of complement what you're doing.
Yeah.
We're going to fund that. and we're going to give you 6 months to do your thing and try and get it right. At the end of 6 months, you need to be making some money because you need to
Yeah.
stand on your own 2 feet.
Yeah.
But during that 6 month period, we're going to be there to support you and nurture
Yeah.
you and really kind of get you to grow and deliver. And I really, really feel if you had this ecosystem, it would be an enormous success. You know, you can see that what they've done in, well, all over the world, to be honest with you. But it's how it worked in San Fran. It's how it works at the moment in, you know, in Lithuania. Lithuania is like the place at the moment
Oh,
for
wow.
AI. Because what the government have done is they've given loads of tax breaks. They make it very, very easy to go and get a visa over there, and they make it just an environment that's cultivated for startups.
Oh,
You know, they did the
wow.
same in Finland as well. They've done the same in Estonia, a little bit in Latvia as well. They're trying to do it in Valencia in Spain. So you get this, you get a real buzz. And what was really exciting about Bournemouth back in the day was again it's the Richmond Group. What James and Mark and all of those guys there did was they were normal guys that created a £1 billion business. And when you see those breadcrumbs of success, you realize it's possible. You realize people just like you can do it.
Yeah.
And when you have an environment like the Richmond Group was 2009 to 2011 when I was there, and I think it went on to about 2014, and then it had to grow up because of
Yeah.
the size that it was. But you had this opportunity to fail, you had this opportunity to learn, but you were within the confines of security that a big business delivers you. And what the Richmond Group delivered was it delivered probably 10 £100 million businesses, and from those 10 £100 million businesses came 100 £10 million businesses, and we had a real scene, if you like, of success in financial services, and it all just comes from one.
Mm.
That one, and then success all just drips down. And I think that's the other thing we're missing at the moment. You know, we have JP Morgan that's doing its thing really well. We have Vitality, we have LV, but we don't have the next independent Bournemouth founded business that people are excited to go and work for. And it feels that we've lost kind of that entrepreneurial flair that we
Yeah.
had previously.
Yeah. I always think that, and as I've been self-employed since 2015,
Oh, wow.
my husband's been self-employed since about 2019. But it's been great watching him and his business grow. He had a mentor and he had people around him, which
Yeah.
was really lovely. For me, I was a mum to 3 under 5, and I was having to work from my laptop
Yeah.
and do the school runs. And actually, I didn't really know what was available. So I didn't know that about these mentors or the
Yeah.
network that is around you and the access to loans and grants and
Yeah.
to all of this that is available. I just kept my head down, and I've seen so many businesses in that position where solopreneurs will be busy working, but it's really scary to think I'm going to
Absolutely.
invest in myself. Oh, there's a network of people. But I feel really passionately that people need, like, the spark. You need stuff like that. You need people like you going, actually, this is what's available. This, you don't have to you can be a big success. You start off at your kitchen table, but actually you could be that next, big
Yeah.
organization. You're going to start off on your own, but
Yeah.
everyone starts off on their own. This
Exactly.
could be in 5-10 years time a huge successful business.
Yeah.
You've got to start somewhere, but
Yeah.
it takes, like, the spark, and what you're doing for everyone, it takes for them to connect with something like that, doesn't it?
I totally agree. And it depends which way you want to look at it as well. Giving back feels really good. And
Yeah.
I'm really, really fortunate that I've got to a position in my life where I have the time and the ability to be able to do that. And I really feel everybody's got an opportunity or a responsibility, whichever way you want to kind of look at it, to give back, and especially to give back to the next generation. But I really feel it's so important to get people to realize that there's absolutely nothing special about me or about my journey or anything like that. I'm a local guy. I come from a normal family. My mum and dad both worked. You know, my dad was a car salesman, and my mum was a legal secretary. I grew up in Corfmullen. I went to a normal school. I did okay. I got a few GCSEs. I got a few A levels. I was terrible at university and ended up with a 2-1 in PR and comms at the worst university at the time in the United Kingdom. Uh, I had my first son when I was 21 years old, which obviously, wasn't particularly planned. I've had enormous successes. I had a business that went into administration and I had to make 100 people redundant. Um, there's no.
But what you've had is passion,
Mm,
and what you've had is you've had the failures where you
yeah,
learn from and you go, right, okay, I can help. And being a dad, I guess that makes a massive, that really impacts you
puts a
going,
fire up your bum.
yeah, it does, because now you're really passionate about, things can change,
Yeah,
things are going to
yeah,
change, and you've taken on that role and gone, I can help,
mm,
so I'm going to give back and I'm going to help,
yeah.
which is huge. We need more
Yeah.
people like you. Like, it's
It's a
massive doing
privilege
what
to
you're
be able
doing.
to do it.
Yeah.
It really, really is. And I think, again, there's nothing clever about what I'm doing with the Spark. Nothing clever at all. It's just introducing people to other people. It's just giving people a space to be themselves, a safe space to be able to kind of communicate. And I think I'm really optimistic by nature, almost delusionally optimistic. I always feel that things are going to be okay because they
Yeah.
usually are. And
Yeah.
there's a real big argument to say, are things okay because they usually are, or are things okay because I have no safety net and I won't allow myself to fail? But again, it's instilling that confidence in people, whether it's a 60-year-old who's decided to go and start up her first business, which a very good friend of mine is in the process of doing at the moment.
That's
It's
amazing.
incredible. Or it's a 17-year-old
Yeah.
who is trying to, set up their first thing, or it's somebody that's worked at a big corporate job and then they're going to go and be so, well, however that is, it's that confidence to be able to say you can do it.
Yeah.
And also it's about not it's about meeting people's expectations, because not everybody wants to go and create a business of 1,000 people.
No.
That's not everybody's vision. Some people just want to be able to be there for their kids on the school run,
Yes.
and I really, really respect that. And
Yeah.
that's come to me much later.
Yeah.
I used to really I wasn't quite as zen and focused and able to deal with many different types of people as I am today. I'm
Yeah.
42 years old now, so it's very different. When I was 30, I was so like fiery,
Yeah.
and you had to conform
Yeah.
to what I wanted. You had to work as hard as me. You
Yeah.
had to deliver 110%. You
Yeah.
had to be there
Yeah.
16, 17 hours a day, otherwise you didn't work and you were
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I realize now that what makes the world a fantastic place is that the vast majority of people are not like me.
Yeah.
What's great is that people are very different and people want very different things out of life. And that difference is interesting and
Yeah.
it's really kind of exciting. But people should want to make our home the best place to work, live and play.
Absolutely.
And if you can only give 1 hour per month,
Yes.
then give that 1 hour.
Yes.
Even if it's as simple as walking through Bournemouth and you see a can, instead of stepping over that can, pick it up and put it in the bin.
Yes.
It's having that civic and social responsibility that is so easy. You don't need to set up the Spark. You don't need to go and go and volunteer at the food bank. You don't need to be Paul Kimvig. You don't need to be Millie Earl. You can just do your thing. And all of these micro changes, that micro civic pride that we
Yes.
can all do so easily, that accumulation of
Yeah.
actions makes our place a better place to work, live and play.
Do you go into schools, into colleges and
Yeah, I
unis and
do.
do
Yeah.
talks?
Yeah, I do a lot with Bournemouth University. I do a fair bit with AUB. I've done a few talks with QE and also Corf Hills. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I
I can
also
see why.
coach 90 children every week, 96, 7 and 8-year-olds. I coach them football every week. And again, it's like it's not just football, it's
Yeah.
life skills,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we were talking about before
Yeah.
we met, before we started filming. Football's been so kind to me, but not
Yeah.
I wasn't a very good footballer, but it's given me so many amazing experiences, so many amazing friendships, so many amazing lessons. And
Yeah.
I really want the children that I work with now to remember that they had a good time
Yeah.
when they were at Lilliput. Not that it was, I don't want it to be. I want people to work hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when they're
Yeah.
6 years old, if they're coming to play football, they're
Yeah.
coming to play
Yeah.
football. They're not coming to prance around with their friends.
Yeah.
But also, I want it to be a safe environment. I want there to be growth. I
Yeah.
want there to be safety. is the right
Yes.
word. And that's the same as the Spark. That's the same as my vision for BCP. It's having a safe environment where people can succeed, whatever they deem their success to look like.
Yeah. So anyone wanting to connect with you, how can they find you?
I'm all over socials. I'm LinkedIn, Dan Ware, Dan Ware UK, I think on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram, Dan Ware CEO. Yeah, just pop me a DM. I respond to every single message. We have meetings with the Spark sort of 3-4 times a month. We do a variety of different things. Our showcase event is an event called Chewing the Fat. That tends to be in Bomo House, which is about 5 minutes from here. And that is getting 40, 50 local business owners and leaders together to talk about a subject. So this month it was hospitality, next month it's security, previously it was the media. It's loads of cool stuff.
Oh, amazing.
We do a monthly founders event as well over at Foundry, which is just a founders support event. So local founders just come and they talk about the problems that they're facing, and we kind of just try and solve them. You know, it's almost like a help group, if you
I
like.
love that you provide this safe space for these businesses, business owners to be
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
To
Because I
be
never felt I could be vulnerable.
No, you always have to
And
put on a front, don't you? You're a
yes.
business, you have to
Yeah.
act in a professional way, the
Yeah.
right way. Can't ask for help.
Yeah,
But actually,
exactly
I
that.
really like that about what you're doing. We can be
Yeah.
vulnerable. We can
It's
say
really
we need help. We
important.
can ask the
Yeah,
questions.
especially us as men, you know, we really, really suffer. There are a lot of men that I know that suffer in silence, and it's not okay. We need to get talking.
Yeah.
The other thing that's important with the Spark is about looking at things holistically as well. It's not just all centered on business.
Yeah.
We do projects around nutrition, and we have Food for Thought, which is an event that I do with an amazing woman called Claire King, who's a local nutritionist and educator. So we talk about the local food system and the importance of good food and looking after yourself and
I
home cooked
love that.
meals. We did an event called the Clear Heads Club. I decided 3 years ago that I didn't want to drink anymore. So I was a good boozer, not problematic, but a good boozer.
What made you decide that you didn't want to drink anymore?
So I'd been drinking more than I should have done, and I was using it as a stress
Yes.
reliever. I'm ultra competitive, and I was doing a run in the October. I'd been drinking a little bit too much, and I thought, do you know what? I'm just gonna have 3 months off, so that I can beat my mates in this run. And I felt so good, and then I felt so rubbish, and I realised that I'd been using alcohol as a crutch for a long time to be able to process certain situations, or do you know what, not process, that's a lie, not process, to hide
Yeah.
from frustrations or anger
Yeah.
or fear or
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And all of a sudden
Yeah.
there were all of these emotions and all of these situations that I couldn't hide from, and it was great. It was really like, it was really weird at first, and then it was, yeah, and then it was great. And then I just loved being present, and I felt even more energetic.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm a pretty confident guy. I don't need to drink. And I could still go and like rave, and I could still go and like spend time with my friends, and I could still go to the pub. And I just realized, like, I don't know, I just realized I just didn't want that for
No.
me
No.
anymore. I just wanted like to be a lot more present.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I did that. And then again, that's become a thing that's become a real central part of my identity. Not around, you know, trying to guilt people who like to have a glass of wine. It's not about that.
No.
It's about just what I did and the
Yeah.
journey that I went on and how it helped me. So we put on
Yeah.
an event called the Clear Heads Club, and that was super cool. It's just, yeah, I really don't. The thing that's so nice about the Spark is there's no strategy at all. I don't have anybody to answer to whatsoever. I do what I want to do. I do what I feel is right. I meet people and they say, I've got this idea.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Let's go on a journey together. Let's do an event. If the event works, then amazing. If the
Yeah.
event doesn't work, then we learn from it, and either we do
Yes.
another one or we decide that, you know, it's not right, and we'll kind of
But
move
how
on
will
from
you
there.
ever know if you don't give it a try?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like I say, I've just met some amazing people. People have come into my orbit that I never would have met before. People like Miliel, people like Paul Kinvig, people like Jackie Rock, you know, the guys over at Bournemouth Food Bank, who I've become an enormous advocate for. Rio Argent, she's one of the most inspirational people I know. There's probably 100 people that I never ever would have met if
Yeah.
I hadn't have set up the Spark. And I thought I was setting up the Spark as this, altruistic thing to give back to my local community. And I've got more from it than
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
Not monetary wise or anything like
No.
that. The stuff that's more important, fulfillment and
Yes.
purpose. I
Yeah.
just love it. Love it.
That's amazing. I'm in awe of you, and I've been to
Thank you.
events and you've been there. I've seen you win awards, so you are doing so much good for
Thank you.
BCP, and I'm really proud to be a BCP girl, a Dorset girl, and surrounded by people like you. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
a massive thank you to you for doing what you're doing. It's huge.
Thank you.
My final question to you,
Yes.
and you've lived in Dorset, although you moved away for a little bit.
Yeah.
But is there a hidden gem, or a person, or a business that you feel like not enough people may know about, and you'd love to share?
Yes, yes, there is. So it's a person that leads into a business that leads into an event. So I think there are so many amazing people that you can talk about, so many people that are so passionate about our home. But the person I'd like to kind of give a really big shout out to is Jeanette, who owns a sweet shop in Poole called
Ah,
Truly
yes,
Scrumptious.
yes.
And what Jeanette has created is she's created a not-for-profit festival called Seafood and Sounds, and it's unreal. There are 5 local business owners that all get together every single year. And every single year, this it's only been going 5 years, but every single year, this festival, Seafood and Sounds, gets that little bit bigger. So this year, they've got all of the quay, and then it's going up all the way to the Dolphin Centre. So essentially, what Seafood and Sounds is it's what it says on the tin. So loads of great seafood, loads of fantastic music, loads of community, and just turning Poole Quay and Poole High Street into a place for the weekend where you can go and have a really good time with your buddies,
Yeah.
and you can get that civic pride, that
Yes.
real kind of feeling of community, that all like we're in it together, and this is a super cool place to work, live and play. And she is an absolute inspiration, a wonderful woman, and somebody that you should have on this podcast.
Oh, I'll be in touch with her.
Excellent.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much
very
for coming
welcome.
on the show. I really appreciate it. So what's your website address? Where can people
It's
find you?
so best place to find me is on LinkedIn, which is Dan Ware UK.
Right.
But also the Spark is sparkhubs.co.uk, and
Amazing.
you can see all of our events on there. We're on Eventbrite, and yeah, the moment you start following me on social media, you'll see me a lot. I like to post a lot. So yeah,
Amazing.
cool.
Thank you so much.
Cool, great to meet you.
Thank you.